Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are taking a look at some last minute spice in the Great League. As I'm sure you guys know, Season 7 is winding down, it's coming to a close, but I did want to feature some last minute spice for you guys, and that is Mud Slap CLAYDOL. CLAYDOL itself is ranked number 396 on the PV Poke rankings, and that's with Confusion. We actually aren't running the recommended moveset of Confusion, we're running Mud Slap instead. The reason being, Mud Slap CLAYDOL is one of the hardest Bastiodon counters in the game, so I did want to try it out and see in the final days of Great League if we can bully some Bastiodons and Galarian Stunfisks. For the team, I paired it with a Skarmory lead, and to start, I had Empoleon as my third, but after I believe about 3 of these battles, I do end up switching it to Scrafty, and Scrafty ended up performing quite a bit better. Hopping into the battles here, picked up an amazing lead Skarmory into Superior, they safe swap into Alolan Marowak, and I come in with my Mud Slap CLAYDOL, only to realize that I didn't check the fast move, and it's actually Hex. So they're doing super effective damage in return, so I definitely should have come in with the Empoleon. Bit of a mistake by me, but the good news is Mud Slap does a ton of damage to Alolan Marowak, and we can fully farm down and leave with a ton of energy. As I mentioned, Mud Slap does a ton of damage, but unfortunately that comes at the cost of very slow energy generation. So even though I have a decent amount of health, Superior is actually going to be able to farm down here and leave with a ton of energy. The good news is that energy is completely useless against Skarmory, as Superior cannot touch Skarmory. They go for a Leaf Tornado, they have a Bastiodon, and we have Empoleon. And Empoleon, again, has a very nice matchup here. As you can see, we are doing super effective damage, and they're going to be going for, apparently, a Stone Edge. You definitely want to go for Flamethrower there, but maybe they threw Stone Edge because they realized that the game was already over. That's entirely possible, but you do want to go for a Flamethrower against an Empoleon, as that's neutral instead of resisted. Because they're going to be able to come back in with the Superior, and even if they farm down, which they decide not to, there's no way that the Superior is beating the Skarmory, so we have a very comfortable win right off the bat. And they throw a last minute Frenzy Plant, but that's just delaying the inevitable. We are able to take the win in style. All right, hopping into the next match here against Kevin Haru, leading Skarmory into Venusaur. Now, when you see a Venusaur, I always think there's a Galarian Stunfisk, and where there's a Venusaur and a Galarian Stunfisk, there's a Bastiodon. So now we get to see Mud Slap CLAYDOL in action versus Bastiodon. So long as we can keep alignment though. We're able to get a shield with the Hydro Cannon, which is great. And we are going to commit the second shield here because unless you're very slow on the switch and they get help with extra mud shots, they cannot get to a third move and flip switch. Venusaur is going to be able to come back in, and we're going to go straight for the Drill Peck, which is going to hit for some solid damage here. Of course, it's non-stab, but that does enough where the Venusaur will have to throw. They're probably going to CMP, which they do very nice counting by the opponent. But the good news is all that extra Venusaur energy goes to waste on the Skarmory, and in comes CLAYDOL, and look at the Mud Slap damage. Bastiodon gets out of there. He's like, I have absolutely no play against this thing. Get me out of here. I am scared. A scared Bastiodon is a good sight. All right, hopping into the final battle with Empoleon before we did end up switching it to Scrafty. And we're picking up a slightly positive lead versus Pelipper, as we can very safely tank 2 Weather Balls, whereas they're really forced to start shielding from the get-go because Sky Attack does a ton of damage. Going for another Water-type Weather Ball here, and we can very safely tank this. That's totally fine. We're getting to the next one, and they do a very nice catch onto a Lickitung. And from here, our CLAYDOL doesn't have a ton of play against this thing, so we're going to come in with the Empoleon, and Empoleon should do very well, because we can throw a Hydro Cannon, do a ton of damage, we can shield up the Power Whip to preserve a ton of health, because the Pelipper is going to have a very difficult time taking out the Empoleon. Shields up, we correctly call the Power Whip, which is huge, and we're able to Waterfall down and leave with a nice amount of energy as well. We're only 2 off the Drill Peck, and Drill Peck, I believe, should be taking out the Pelipper if they don't shield. And they do decide to shield, so whatever's in the back also doesn't want to see Empoleon. Charge move coming through here. At this point, I'm totally fine with letting that go. Just a Weather Ball. And they come in, and it's a Galarian Stunfisk. Oh, it's time to bully some Steel types, CLAYDOL. Let's go. And they go for the Earthquake. Look at CLAYDOL. CLAYDOL doesn't care. It's like, you Earthquake me? I'm gonna keep mud slapping all day and all night. Just mud slapping. Alright, beautiful. Pelipper comes in. Can we mud slap down? No, they decide to throw. I'm not willing to try and mud slap down a flying type, so I let that go. We can come in with Empoleon as they concede the match. So able to get a couple wins with Empoleon in the back, but I did end up discovering that Empoleon was a little glassy for my needs, so I ended up switching it out for Scrafty. Hop into the next match here, and we're picking up an amazing lead, and my opponent is apparently lagging. I'm like, hello, buddy? You there? He's there. I'm going to let him get a bunch of Vine Whips. He comes in with Talonflame, and I'm going to start attacking again. And we're going to go straight for the Brave Bird. My move timing is terrible, and I let a free Incinerate through. We landed the Brave Bird, so I defer the Incinerate onto my Scrafty, and we're going to shield up. And turns out they just Flame Charged there. They probably should have Brave Birded, but I'm still pretty happy with my decision to shield there, and we can safely tank a Frenzy Plant at this health. At this range, I do decide to go for the foul play, just because I would rather secure the KO. They do decide to shield, so very interesting call there. And I'm able to get to another foul play, which is very nice. And we'll see if they do decide to double shield, and they do decide to let it go. What's in back? It's a Bastiodon. We're able to get to a power-up punch. Bastiodon is going to be able to farm us down, and they're probably thinking, man, well, on the bright side, we got the best Bastiodon counter out of here, right? Mud Slap CLAYDOL comes in, and the Bastiodon top left. Oh no. Oh goodness. Alright, hopping into the next match here. So we have bullied some Bastiodon so far. Feeling good. Another Pelipper lead. This is a slightly positive lead, which is very nice. And they're going to switch into a Stunfisk, and we're going to counter swap with Scrafty. And Scrafty is my preferred response to a Galarian Stunfisk save swap with the Pelipper lead, as I'm really hoping there's a Bastiodon in the back. And my whole goal for running Mud Slap CLAYDOL was to bully as many Bastiodon as possible. So that is the goal. We are going to use the Scrafty here, going for the power-up punch. One more counter is able to take it out, and now we are pretty boosted, which is nice. And I believe we can get to a foul play before we are wing attack down, which would be very nice. Can we get there? Oh, we just can't get there. We are going to go for the power-up punch and hope they miscount it and think it's a foul play. And they call it. Very nice counting there by my opponent. But on the bright side, since we didn't throw onto the Stunfisk, we still have the Sky Attack to threaten a shield. And as we've talked about before, we can tank Weather Balls for absolute days. So we are totally fine here. They have so much energy on this Pelipper, so we're just going to keep tanking charge moves, unfortunately. They're at yet another one. Pelipper, calm down, dude. It's okay. And we are going to throw 2 more Air Slashes and go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack does take them out. What's in back? It's a Skuntank. So we are doing super effective damage, but they can hit us for a super effective Crunch, which would be rough. Crunch would not be good here. The question is, can we tank a Crunch? Unfortunately, the game is stuttering here like crazy. They get to another Crunch. Is this going to be enough to take us out? Come on, CLAYDOL. We live, and we're able to Mud Slap down and take the win. Oh my goodness. Alright, off into the next match here. Skarmory into Gengar, and I believe that trainer's name said something about being a Gengar fan, so very cool. And they come in with a Shadow Machamp. And this is actually an okay matchup for us here, because so long as we shield, we're able to buff up our counters. So I believe if we can get the second power-up punch off, we can actually flip switch here. We're able to get to the second power-up punch, which is huge. And let's see if the opponent does decide to shield it up. They decide to let it go and give us switch, which is really nice. And they come in with a Hypno to try and farm down. And we should be able to situate our alignment in a very favorable position here. Unfortunately, they're able to get a ton of farm, and I'm afraid of the Shadow Ball on the CLAYDOL, so I'm going to come into the Skarmory to hopefully absorb some damage, and he's going to be throwing a lot of Thunder Punches at me. Fortunately, Skarmory has decent bulk, so Skarmory can take 2 Shadow Punches. They do a very nice snipe with Gengar. Shadow Punch doesn't kill me, so I can let this go. And now it's time to come in with Mud Slap CLAYDOL. And I have to call this. I believe this is just a Shadow Punch. I have to call it. It's just a Shadow Punch. That's super effective, but we survive, which is the important part. Hypno comes in. And as you can see, we are attempting to very carefully time when we throw our charge move to not give them free fast moves. But as you can see, we do resist the confusion, whereas the mud slaps are neutral. They're unable to confusion us down, and we are able to get off our second Shadow Ball, which does KO. CLAYDOL finishing the game off with style. Hop into the next match here. Skarmory into Sableye. The Sableye lead is definitely tricky for this team because we have a very nice matchup if we can align the Sableye with our Scrafty, but Sableye does exceedingly well against our CLAYDOL, so we don't really want to switch out of this matchup since this is our most neutral matchup. We are going to shield up the foul play, and we are going to be going for these Sky attacks. First Sky attack comes through, that does get the shield, that makes sense. Sableye is a beast, but it can't take Sky Attack super well, so they do double shield, and now I actually do decide to come in with the Scrafty. A bit of a mistake on my part, to be honest, but I figured since we had shield advantage, then, you know, with Power Up Punch, Scrafty can beat a lot of things with the shield advantage, and Skarmory is one of them. All we have to do is shield up the one Sky Attack, and we're in a really comfortable position to just go straight Power Up Punch and completely counter down this Skarmory. We shield up the Sky Attack, that's totally fine. We're going to build up and go for another Power Up Punch. Getting a little greedy here, just going for the Power Up Punch. We're able to secure the KO, which is absolutely huge, and now we are very buffed. Sableye comes out, they're going to have to return us to kill us. They go for a foul play, that's not enough to take us out. We're able to counter down, and what's in the back? It's a Meganium. So we are going to be going for the boosted foul play that does a huge amount of damage. They're able to farm us down, and we're actually in a bit of a tough spot here because our Skarmory is very low. So we're going to come in with the CLAYDOL to hopefully force them to throw some energy here, which they do. Frenzy Plant does not take us out. Aggressive swap in with the Skarmory, and they get to a move. Oh no, come on CLAYDOL, please, just one Mud Slap, please. Oh, CLAYDOL able to clutch it out. Oh my goodness. And picking up a really nice lead here in Toxicroak. Toxicroak, they save swap into Pelipper, and here we actually need to stay in because all of our backline does really poorly against Pelipper, but if we can keep alignment, which we should be able to because Skarmory does beat Pelipper, then we're going to be able to line up our CLAYDOL with the Toxicroak, and we should be in a pretty good spot there. Alright, charge move coming through, and since they shielded, I do decide to shield it up just because I do want to go about matching shields. They get to another Weather Ball here, and I can let this go. As you can see, that gets me kind of low, but wing attacks do so little to Skarmory that I'm going to comfortably be able to get to a second Sky Attack here that is going to take them out. Of course, they do get to a Weather Ball before me because Pelipper is extremely spammy, but we're able to comfortably win the 2 shield, and then they're probably going to be bringing in Toxicroak to counter me down and get a bit of an energy lead. Toxicroak does come in and counter down, but we can align it with the CLAYDOL, and look at the Mud Slap damage. Oh my goodness. Mud Slap putting in work there. What's in back? Oh no, they have a Powder Snow Alolan Ninetales, and I make a huge mistake by not switching out immediately because they're going to go for the Dazzling Gleam here. And my opponent actually decides to undercharge the Dazzling Gleam so I get less farm on the CLAYDOL. So both me and my opponent are making some mistakes in this match. They farm down. I'm not going to be able to farm down here, so I have to go for the Shadow Ball, and then it's just going to be a race to see if I can Mud Slap them down before they get to a move, and we're just able to do so. So in a mistake-riddled game, still able to clutch out the win. Alright, hop into the next match here against an Umbreon lead, and this is a losing lead for Skarmory. And again, we have a really bad matchup in the back with CLAYDOL and a really good matchup with Scrafty, but we're not really going to be able to get the alignment that we want, so we stay in more of the neutral matchup. Foul play comes through, we can pretty safely tank that, and typically from here, I'm more than likely going to be going for the Brave Bird, and then I would imagine I'm going to be bailing into Scrafty afterwards. Going for the Brave Bird here, this is going to be doing huge damage, it's going to be getting it very, very low, and we're able to snipe it with a counter and reset our debuff, and they bring out a Venusaur. Very interesting to show me the Venusaur, because hopefully I'm going to be able to align it with the Skarmory, and Skarmory is going to do exceedingly well against this Venusaur. As we've seen earlier, it completely walls it. Big foul play there. I definitely understand the no shield, that makes quite a bit of sense. and we're going to be going for another foul play, and they throw right on the CMP. At this point, I'm pretty comfortable with letting this go. However, they have not switched this game. I have. So when I come in with the Skarmory, I'm still switch locked in for a brief amount of time, whereas they're not, and it's an Azumarill. This is really, really bad for me. I really don't have a good response to Azumarill on this team. I go for the Brave Bird, I get the shield, and I come in with CLAYDOL, and we're in trouble because both Ice Beam and Hydro Pump hit for super effective damage, but the opponent doesn't know about CLAYDOL's typings and goes for a Play Rough. And with that, a win condition might emerge. We're able to get a shield. Them going for a Play Rough, it's the one move Azu has that is neutral, so we're in an okay spot here. We were able to tank one, and now we just need to get to that Shadow Ball. They come in with the Venusaur, we're able to farm down, and now we're going to go for the Shadow Ball onto the Azumarill. Let's see how much this does. It doesn't quite take it out. I switch into the Skarmory, and we're able to take it out with Air Slashes there. So my opponent's unfamiliarity with CLAYDOL's typings ended up being super helpful there. Alright, an amazing lead in Venusaur, but a terrible safe swap for us in Azumarill, as my backline really doesn't have a response to Azumarill whatsoever, so things are not looking great for us. We are going to be letting this move go through. Oh no, they have Hydro Pump, that's going to be doing big damage. We are going to be going for the Sky Attack here. Sky Attack does a nice amount of damage, and coming in with the CLAYDOL. Unfortunately, if they Hydro Pump, it's really going to hurt. They do, ow, and they come in with the Venusaur since they are no longer switch locked in, and they're able to farm down. This is going to be tough. I let this go. I'm fully going to put my trust in Scrafty to win us this game. Come on, Scrafty. We're just going to need to go straight for power-up punches, get boosted on our counters, and hope that that takes us to where we need to go. That was one definite weakness to switching out Empoleon, is we no longer had any response to an Azu safe swap. They get to another move here, and can we farm this down? If we can farm this down, they actually switch in Azu, try and get to a move. We just fully counter them down. We have so much energy now. It all depends what is in the back. Let's see, and it's a Galarian Stunfisk, so we have a chance. We are already once boosted, now we're twice boosted. Now we're 3 times boosted, so our counters are doing way more damage here, and they have to get to an Earthquake to take us out. We're building up, we're able to get to the foul play. This should be enough to take out the Galarian Stunfisk, and then there's just the Venusaur in the back. Venusaur is out of energy, we come in with counters, a little bit of lag there, and we're able to counter down and take the win. So all in all, Mud Slap CLAYDOL. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good counter to Galarian Stunfisk and Bastiodon, but it struggles in a ton of other matchups. As you can see, against anything grass, anything water, anything ice, it just gets destroyed. So it's probably one that I recommend leaving on the bench for now, but if you ever wanting to really bully some Bastiodon, it's a good pick. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.